Okay guys, rain, sleet, or snow, I am back with another crypto video. And this video here, it's a video from, well, it's a video from a guy from the BIS. And it's a video of him. Shout out to Brad Kimes and the other person down here for posting and reposting this. But it's a video of the guy just admitting that these governments, like, they absolutely not only plan on putting out CBDCs, but that the main reason they want to really get behind it is because they know that they can have a better control over the people and where their money goes and what they can see when it comes to the people spending their money. So I'm gonna play that clip right now.
Analysis on CBDC, in particular for the use of general use, we tend to establish the equivalence with cash, and there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today. A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability.
This isn't a surprise to any of us because, again, as we all know, a lot of these governments, whether they admit it or not, the ultimate goal is obviously to get to a point where they have as much control as possible. What they do with censorship on social media, that's the same thing that they want to do with the financial system. They want to be able to not only have very detailed reports on all the things you spend your money on and that we spend our money on, but also the ability to block us out at any moment. Like, like they want to have that ability to be able to say, okay, you can no longer participate in our society because you didn't go with this agenda, or you didn't vote for this person, or you didn't take this jab or whatever, like just whatever the case may be. So it's not even a slight surprise to me. But the person who was originally posted that said that Bitcoin is the biggest threat to them. I disagree. Crypto as a whole is a big threat to them, but Bitcoin specifically is not really a big threat to them, because at the end of the day, whether they admit it or not, they know who created Bitcoin. Like, they even, if I'm not mistaken, like the Department of Defense or Security or something already came out and said that they located and interviewed the 4 people. They claim it's 4, the 4 people behind Bitcoin. So to me, a coin like Bitcoin isn't really their biggest threat, because if they interviewed but didn't arrest, to me that's pretty telling. To me that sounds like it was all coordinated and they were part of the plan. But that's just my opinion. So the next story I want to get into here, it's a story about Mt. Gox. Speaking of Bitcoin creators, I guess, because people like me think Jeb McCaleb might be he might secretly be the creator of Bitcoin, or at least one of them. So as far as Mt. Gox is concerned, the story here is a post, again, shout out to Brad Kimes, but it's somebody posting about how $3 billion worth of Bitcoin is, after 7 years, it's finally being released back to investors. And that is also a good example, a case study on like how bad the fallout could be when these crypto exchanges collapse, where investors who put their hard-earned money on these platforms, they just get left in the dark for almost a decade. Like, they're just getting their money back from 7 years ago. And what do you think they're gonna do with it? Yeah, some of them I think will still just hold on to Bitcoin for the time being, but a lot of them are probably gonna sell it, and I can't blame them. I wouldn't blame them. I wouldn't blame them at all. Like, because that's extremely frustrating, especially if 7 years ago, when they had that Bitcoin, it was not even worth close to what it is now. Even in a downturn, we are far at 20 to 23,000. Bitcoin is still far more valuable now than it was back when the whole back compared to 7 years ago with the Mt. Gox thing. So the next story I want to get into here is a story from Citibank. It is a story, and the article reads, Multiple evidence indicates that the liquidity crisis in the broader cryptocurrency markets may have seen the worst. This is the conclusion suggested by Citibank in the latest study. I don't trust anything Citibank says. Again, Citibank, that's like trusting Jim Cramer with financial advice. You can't, anything they say, you have to believe the opposite. Anytime these mainstream puppets or these bankers or whatever try to tell you or hint to you what they think's gonna happen in the market, almost always it goes in the opposite direction. So to me, it feels like the okie doke. I would not even trust that. I wouldn't trust that for 1 second. Like I just wouldn't. Next story I'm gonna get into here. It's a story from Uphold, and it's a story about roughly several million XRP has gone missing from Uphold. But the story reads: Uphold down for 8 million XRP in their wallet Friday to went from only 8 million XRP down from their wallet Friday to 3 million left today. And Brad Combs responds by saying, "Are we running out of retail tacos? This is getting interesting to watch." So that does feed into Brad Combs' theory about how we possibly could be seeing a liquidity shock of XRP in the very near future. And it could also feed into his theory that the XRP that Jed was selling very well could have been that the XRP Jed was selling could have been going straight to these exchanges. And now that he's ran out, at least from the wallet people know about, hey, who knows what could happen. Next story I want to get into here is a post from the Block Biz and also a response from JV. And the post reads: so apparently Uphold has 1, 2, 3 wallets. They have roughly 14 million left between the 3 wallets, totaling around $6 million. So not as bad as I previously thought. And JV's response was question: so what happens when all the XRP liquidity dries up on these exchanges? It's low now, but the value of XRP is low. Will financial institutions just source all of the XRP from Ripple, whom's escrow is not in circulation yet? So that's it. That's an interesting take on it. Like, well, one, I didn't know Uphold had multiple wallets, but I'm not really surprised. But I also had no idea that really to really stop and think about what would happen to these exchanges if they ran out. Like, I really can't. I can't tell you what's gonna happen. All I think is at that point would be a liquidity shock, but maybe the banks would buy it straight from Ripple again. Next post I want to get into here is a post from Ashley Prosper, and it reads: if Jed is selling XRP to the Treasury, it would explain why the SEC sued Ripple, why they let Jed sell his XRP, why Rosie Vios joined Ripple, why Congress hasn't called for an investigation, why the IG or ethics office won't investigate, and why Jed hasn't been mentioned in the case. That, I agree, it would explain a whole lot, because again, it doesn't make sense how Jed always finds a way to slither out of these situations right before things go left. I can't wrap my head around it. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me. But the next story I want to get into here is a post from Mr. Clean. It's a video clip from that speech that Gary Gensler gave a while ago. I think it was back in 2018 that many people often cite. And I want to just play the clip really quick.
The enforcement actions will pick up, and you'll see more, and also private litigation, which is also what you have in the XRP case, but you have it in other cases as well. I think regulators and courts will bring greater clarity to the security definition. At some point in time, things like XRP will decide it. It might be decided it's not a security, but I think that's going to roll out over the next 18 to 36 months. It's not like the next 3 weeks or 6 weeks, but I think that even the Securities and Exchange Commission will speak more definitively than Bill Hinman's speech he gave in, June? Yeah, June. That was
So yeah, so in that clip, he even sounds like he's acknowledging the fact that Ripple could win this lawsuit, and he said in 18 to 36 months, if I'm not mistaken, this speech is from 2018. So yeah, we still, again, things could be playing out just like he planned. Who knows? But the next story I want to get into here is also a clip from Brad Kimes from Digital Perspectives, where it's just him playing back another clip from Wheezy, where it's saying it's a video, and in the video they're quoting and saying we're working on projects that are a pilot prior to going live. Digitalization is happening. You can't turn back the clock. You can't change the future of the world. It's going to happen.
I put emphasis on it. I put emphasis on it.
So yeah, I had to play that because I just thought I thought that whole sequence of events was pretty powerful. The last post I want to get into here is a video from Zoe Cruz, who, if I'm not mistaken, was a former president of Morgan Stanley. And I just want to play this out to leave people on a high note of optimism when you hear what her thoughts are on Ripple.
Because of the cryptocurrencies, I would look more like the internet world. So let's say you decided back in 1997, all these cool companies were coming up, Internet Explorer and blah, blah, blah. How much can I afford to lose to a business plan? You had these people being given money on a business plan, not actually executing on a business, just a business plan. And the right call was, again, within that profile, how much money, and within that, I would do the analysis the same way, which is looking at why is Google that just announced in 1997 they're going to get into that space. And I would look at, again, the industry risk. Within that industry risk, what are the people chomping at the bit at the Internet Explorer or whatever So for me right now, is Ripple is the clear winner.